people, CzarThwomp here, and welcome to episode 28 of Phoenix Wright Trials and Tribulations. Last time, we busted through John Armstrong's, the remaining testimony he had, and we got Tigre up on the stand, and now we're cross-examining him, and we just presented matches showing that he had indeed gone to Tribulations before. Matches? What are you talking about? We found them in your office at Tenderlander. They're from that restaurant. What? If you've never been to Tribulations before, what was a book of the restaurant's matches doing on your desk? You've been snooping around in my stuff now too, wise guy? What are you, my ball and chain? Ain't no broad controlling me.
Order, order! Well, witness, I think it's time you start telling us the truth, don't you? Ah! Sorry, I'm terribly sorry, forgive me.
I ain't no pussycat. I don't go back on what I said. But okay, I was at the joint that day. What? But listen good, alright? I might have been there, but I still ain't never met the kid. Well. Looks like an order just came in for another testimony. I'm this close to proving it was him. He gave me Glen Elg that day, and he did put poison in his coffee. He must have. I was supposed to meet with the kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was laid out all over the table, stiff as the corpse. I figured the place was how right it was gonna be, so I split. I heard the cops' sirens on my way out, and I went straight back to my office.
I see. You didn't actually meet with him in the end, then. Well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Hold it! If I wait around any longer, I ain't even gonna make the normal express. No more stupid questions. Ha. No problem. Anytime the right person is on something irrelevant, I'll see he pays a penalty.
But Mr. Godo, that's my job.
Your job is to slam that little hammer of yours and get the verdict. So do it!
Yes, sir.
The special express ain't cheap, right? Just so you know, since you's paying. Oh man, doesn't the rule of law mean anything around here? Okay. Well, how would he have been able to see an ugly scene if you look at the floor plans and see the fact that there's a large partition at the door? That bit actually rather just large walls in general. You're something of a loan collecting pro, aren't you, Mr. Tigre? No one escapes the Tigre's clutches. Well, I'm something of a lie detecting pro. And no one escapes the Phoenix's clutches. I think it's time we got something straight. Caca! What's this tonight? A new line of irrelevant questioning? Phoenix then punches Godo in the face. Caca! These are the floor plans of the crime scene. You say you were standing at the entrance, Mr. Tigre. From there, your field of vision would have covered an area something like this.
Indeed, the witness would have had a clear view of the victim's seat.
Isn't that what I just said? I saw the back of the kid's head. Unfortunately for you, that is not possible. If the court would think back, you'll remember that between each of the tables is a tall partition.
Why, that's true.
Now look at the plans again. The truth is painfully obvious. From the entrance, the field of vision of any customer walking in ends here. So, from the entrance of Tribulations, you couldn't have seen the victim's seat. But you did see the victim that day, because you met with him. Wrong. Have you forgotten the old man's testimony yesterday? The victim was alone at his table. But the defense just proved that point to be moot. The victim witnessed by Mr. Kudo was not Glen Elg, but a fake. What? In order to have Mr. Kudo falsely testify, the real killer posed as the victim he had just killed and acted as charade.
That will do. This trial has gone on long enough without the obvious question being answered. Who exactly was this real killer who impersonated the victim? You say the killer murdered Glen Elg, and then impersonated his victim in a performance for Mr. Kudo. In that case, Mr. Wright, reveal the identity of the criminals to the court.
Obviously, the killer's for you, Tigre. No one else could have done it.
What? Well, witness?
Ha ha! Now that's cute. You think you can pin this on the Tigre? Maybe you don't understand. The Tigre is king of the jungle. So I dare you to say it again. Come on, you got the guts.
You can't threaten me, Mr. Tigre. It's the defense. Go ahead and tell the witness, Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright!
Sounds to me like it must be you, old man. You've got guts, I'll give you that.
Mr. Wright, do not leave me handless alone. I don't want to die.
Ha, perhaps I can end this embarrassment.
But Mr. Godo.
Let's just go back over Mr. Kudo's testimony one more time. The old man didn't see just the victim. Oh, no.
The servant girl brought him a Jalapeno, but she put something in it. There's no question about it. She very conspicuously put some white powder in there.
Was the victim he saw the real victim or not? That doesn't matter. The fact remains, he saw the accused put the poison into the coffee.
Sorry, I had to burp. Well, that's
Very impressive, Mr. Godo. Waiting for my absence to launch your attack. Ha! Found your pen at last, right? It was in my pocket. Ahem, but anyways, Mr. Godo witnessed two people that day. He saw the victim, the supposed Mr. Glenelg, and the waitress from behind.
Yes, your point, Mr. Wright?
I think the conclusion is obvious. If this Glenelg was really the killer in disguise, then surely it's possible that the waitress was also part of the show.
What? You mean the waitress was an imposter as well?
The defendant, Mr. Bird, fell unconscious immediately after the incident. And someone used her fainting to hatch an elaborate plan to pin the murder on her.
Who on earth was it? Who was this waitress in that Mr. Kudo witness? Who is this woman?
Her name is Viola Cadaverini. She's an employee of Tenderlender. You was making a big mistake. Do you know who Violetta's grandfather is? You better be going home in an armored truck tonight, if you know what I mean. Like Phoenix has anything to fear? Phoenix lives near, has his law firm next to the Kataki family. He just get another mob family to help him out. Stop shaking, Nick! Where was I? Yes, the defendant, Miss Bird, had stated the following.
Well, when I poked the coffee over the victim's table, it's true that there was another customer in the restaurant. She was sort of creepy, and she had a kind of cackling laugh.
There are just too many contradictions in this case. The second man at the victim's table, who nobody but Miss Bird seemed to have seen. The earpiece worn by the victim in his left ear when that eardrum was ruptured. And the radio show he was supposedly listening to half an hour after it was over. There's only one logical explanation that she clears up all these contradictions. The whole incident took place twice. Once for real and once for show. And Mr. Furio Tigre, the only person who could have committed that crime, was you.
Witness, what have you got to say?
That's cute.
Sorry?
You's alright. I could do with a guy like you around. What do you mean? Okay, I'm in on this game. I'm gonna have to charter a jet to get me to my meeting now, but I'm gonna give you one more thing to think about before I go. Something to think about. You's got it all wrapped up nice, huh, right? But you's missed one real important thing. But that can't be. I was in the joint that day, and I met that kid too. But I couldn't have poisoned him, you see here?
What? Do you really expect us to believe this now, Mr. Tigre?
Ha! What a troublemaker! The troublemaker? Looks like we're going to need another one for the road. One more steaming cup of hot testimony.
Indeed. Witness, you will explain yourself to the court. I will give you one more chance to testify. What happened that day at Trade BM between yourself and the victim?
Yeah, I loaned El Cash about $100,000. That day, we was due to have a little chat. The kid had his payback date, see? So anyways, he tells me he's got no way to pay up. I'm about to flatten the guy when he starts screaming, "Yes, I won! $500,000! He got lucky, you know. Real lucky. If that waitress hadn't done what she done, everything would have been over.
Now, I see that the principal amount you loaned to Mr. Elk was $50,000.
Yeah, well, you've got the VIG to take into account. Interest build up fast, you know. That's faster than that. $100,000 is twice his principal.
And the repayment deadline was December 3rd, the day of the incident in question.
Yeah, he was one lucky kid. He got that $500,000 just in time. So I ain't got no reason that I killed the kid. And if I ain't got no motive, you ain't got no case. His motive, he has to have one, but what is it? Okay. The waitress, you mean? The girl with the glass in the defense chair. Who else could I mean? If she hadn't gotten in the way, things would have been bada bing, bada boom, over and done with. Yeah, we should push a little on this. Ask how things would have been. What do you mean things would have been over and done with? Are yous all there or what? I'm talking about the cash. I was there to get my $100,000 back. That's all. I'm a businessman. It was all coming together before that waitress got in the way.
As far as I can tell from the witness's testimony, other than the recoupling of his loan, Mr. Tigre had no motive for killing the victim. Witness, you will amend your testimony to reflect what you just said.
The Tiger's motive, huh? MC Bomber. Bomber time. Boom, da, dum, ba, bam, boom. Bomber time. So you just intended to get back the $100,000 Mr. Elk owed you, correct? I loaned the guy the cash, so that's my right. Unfortunately for Mr. Elk, I don't believe the $100,000 is what you were after. What are you getting at, right? What else would a moneylender be after other than money? Oh, the moneylender was after money, but money in a totally different league. The kind of money that a simple single disc like this would fetch.
What is that?
A computer virus, Your Honor. A virus called MC Bomber.
A computer virus? What does one of those do?
A computer virus is a program that wreaks havoc on the insides of a computer.
A computer? What does one of those do?
I guess the beard isn't the only part of His Honor that is from the Stone Age. I'll explain it to you later, Your Honor. Right now, this is an important point. A virus like MC Bomber would be worth several $1 million from the black market.
Several $1 million?
Lending money with no hope of ever seeing repayment would normally be bad for business, but in this case, the very fact that Glenn Elk had no way to repay the money is crucial.
What?
Glenn Elk was a programmer, a highly skilled programmer. That skill was the collateral Mr. Elk put up in order to borrow the money.
Objection.
You're trying to suggest the witness's motive was to get hold of that program? Exactly. The witness may have poor fashion sense, but he is by no means an idiot, right? A man like him could get his hands on $1 million without resorting to murder. Of course he could, provided that he had time. But what if he had needed the money right then? When the pressure's on, the luxury of choice tends to disappear.
It seems you have a logical conclusion for this theory, Mr. Wright. Would you care to share it with us? Why did Mr. Tigre need money for the tune of $1 million?
In December of last year, you found yourself in need of a huge amount of money. About 6 months ago, you were involved in a traffic accident, weren't you? An accident involving a car and a scooter, in which a young woman was injured. She was taken to the hospital, where she underwent surgery. Where did you get all this info? These medical papers document the treatment of the young woman in question. According to these, her operation cost $1 million. $1 million. Payments for these expenses was due in December of last year and was paid in full.
$1 million? A preposterous sum! Someone should sue these HMOs!
Ha! No one would pay a bill like that. If the medical association got wind of it, the hospital would end up as dead as the morgue. But Mr. Tigre had no choice but to pay, because his very life depended on it. Gah! Sorry about that. Sorry about the delay.
Order! You say his life depended on it, Mr. Wright.
Indeed it did, simply because the injured woman was none other than Viola Cadaverini. Did you say Cadaverini? Bruno Cadaverini, mob boss in charge of all underworld activities in the city. doting grandfather to his precious Violetta, also known as Viola Cadaverini. Your life was in danger unless you paid compensation to the boss, correct? It makes sense. You were desperate to acquire that $1 million Cadaverini demanded of you. So desperate, in fact, that you decided to sacrifice Glen Elg's life to pay your debt. On the day of the murder, Mr. Tigre's sole intention was to get his hands on the CD. Glen Elg had no way of paying back the $100,000, and Mr. Tigre knew it. But then a miracle happened. The kind that Mr. Tigre would have preferred to have say never happened, but he can't, neither can I. The lottery win. Exactly, at the 11th hour, Mr. Elg won $500,000 to the lottery, which left Mr. Tigre with no way of getting his hands on the all-important CD, at least not no legitimate way. So he resorted to illegitimate means. That's crazy! He murdered Glen Elg and then made his next move, to fight Maggie Bird for the crime. Mr. Tigre posed as Glen Elg, while Viola Cadaverini played the role of Miss Bird. And they reenacted the whole thing in order to establish a witness. The witness being the one we all heard testify yesterday, Mr. Victor Kuda. Like I said, Wright, that's crazy! No one could pull off a stunt like that! For starters, there's no way the chef could have been kept out of it. But Mr. Armstrong knew all about it. Have you forgotten already, Mr. Godo? Mr. Armstrong owed the witness money too. $500,000, in fact. He had no choice but to go along with Mr. Tigre's plan.
Order, silence, or I will clear the courtroom.
You put on a good show, Spiky. If you want to stay alive in the loan shark business, you gotta be careful. You saying I dressed up like that kid, create a witness, and frame someone? If I did something crazy like that, I'd leave a trail as bright as my shirt. I ain't dumb enough to do something sloppy like that. I agree. What? Despite your appearance, you are very careful. That's why you took one more precaution, one more trick to make sure Miss Bird had no way out.
What? Another one, Mr. Wright?
Interesting. Why don't you fill us all in, Wright? What was this trick, Mr. Tigre? Yes. Paper badge.
What on earth is that? What an insult to think anyone could be fooled by such a childish imitation.
Consider yourself insulted, Your Honor. Mr. Tigre, you didn't just pose as the victim on the day in question. A month ago, in this very courtroom, you posed as me.
What? That's
the truth.
But the witness looks nothing like you, Mr. Wright. Although, now that I think about it, it was you, wasn't it? No doubt it was you, standing in here, this very court, a mere month ago. The fish Wright who put up the most disreputable, shabby defense I have ever seen.
Ah! Can you prove that, Gramps? Prove the attorney who represented the accused here a month ago was this man. Are you prepared to take the stand and testify that it was him? Hey, forget about it, yeah? I wouldn't do something like that, not me. You made a mistake, right? It was someone else, huh? How you know, pride, sir? This isn't a matter of pride. In case you didn't know, Trite, here in court we deal with people's lives.
Mr. Godo is right.
Your Honor.
Speaking for myself, I am absolutely convinced. The attorney in question was the witness standing before me now. However, I preside over this court as the judge, with the vested power to hand down a verdict. Someone in my position cannot be swayed by a memory without evidence to support it.
No!
If the defense has no further evidence, the court will now excuse the witness. The circumstances surrounding Mr. Tigre are dubious for sure, but not conclusive.
But we come too far!
You say he impersonated Glen Elg, you say he impersonated you, but none of that adds up to a murder charge. You don't have a shred of evidence to us that the witness poisoned the victim's coffee. Yeah! Ha! Sucks to be you, right? Don't mess with the tiger, or you're gonna get mauled. You got that? All we managed to do here was chase him around a bit, but I was so close to getting him to admit his own guilt. Ha! Looks like I won't be needing a refill. But that still proves that Maggie's innocent. Should that be our main objective? Like, at least prove Maggie's not guilty? If I only had one more piece of evidence. One more piece of evidence that maybe I could get Maggie off the hook.
The witness's cross-examination is over. You are free to go, Mr. Tigre.
Your Honor, sir! Wait!
Detective Gumshoe? Sorry it took so long, pal. I staked everything on this. My badge, the works. So here it is. My heart's counted on this too. What is this, detective? It's an obvious bill. It's the final decisive piece of evidence. What?
Okay, yeah, we can finish this case up today. In this episode. January 8th, 2:48 p.m. Defendant lobby number 1.
Sorry it took so long, pal, but I finally got the results from the lab.
The results?
About the prints, pal, from this medicine bottle.
Oh, so you know who the prince belongs to now?
Do you think I'm some kind of hack detective? Of course I know.
Don't tell us. They're the Tigers, right? I knew it.
You bet. Well, there's crystal all over the bottle. The Furio Tigre's paw prints, all right.
That's great. We got him now, Nick. What's wrong with you? You hired that word that Detective Gumshoe got here. He laid everything on the line with his Nick.
I know. Look, I'm sorry. This is kind of hard to say, but it really doesn't make any difference whose prints are on that bottle now.
Oh, what? Why not?
What we need to produce at this stage in the trial is irrefutable evidence that the Tigre put poison in Glenn Elk's coffee. He's already admitted that he met the victim. The fact that his prints are on the bottle, that really doesn't make any difference now.
I knew it. Great. No matter how hard I try, I'm never of any use.
Hey, don't be so hard on yourself.
This was our last chance out, Maggie, and I've been working on some useless piece of evidence the whole time. It's alright, I'm a real loser. It's not breaking news to me, pal. I'm gonna go and crawl into my hole and die.
Detective Gumshoe? Maggie? You've been working on something for me?
Sorry to let you down, Maggie. I know you didn't do it. And I'm a detective. We're supposed to be able to prove stuff like that. I'm real sorry. I'll get your hand out.
Detective Gumshoe, wait!
He's gone.
Is there anything we can do now, Nick?
I wish there was. Gumshoe worked so hard to get that evidence. If only there was some way I could use it. No ninjaing, Phoenix? 3:04 p.m.
Mr. Wright,
Yes, Your Honor?
I granted you a recess so you compare this decisive evidence you've discovered.
Yes. Don't keep us all in suspense, Wright. Show us. Naturally, we can assume it's evidence that will actually stand up in court, can't we? Think, Phoenix. Don't let Gumshoe's hard work go to waste. How much more of my time are you going to waste? I ain't been to no court before. But you's lawyers sure know how to blow things out of proportion.
No doubt, given the nature of the evidence, I will speak for itself. Nevertheless, you will talk us through it, Mr. Wright.
No, sorry. Had some dried skin on my whip. Well, I know I can't prove anything new with this evidence. I'm really back into a corner here. But maybe if he thinks he's got me beat, he'll let his guard down a bit.
Don't keep us waiting any longer, Mr. Wright. Present this final decisive evidence to the court.
This is the defense's final piece of evidence.
Isn't that the victims?
Your Honor? Naturally, the court is already aware of the contents of this bottle. However, interesting new information has come to light. We have clearly identified some fingerprints on it. Fingerprints belonging to you, Mr. Tigre.
What? But Mr. Wright, what conclusion are you hoping to draw from this new information?
Everyone here knows what this bottle contains. Except one man. One person in this courtroom should theoretically be in the dark. My prints are... sorry. What's wrong with me? My prints are on that fancy-looking bottle? Is that what you're saying? Well, what the hell is it anyways? Now, Basically, I think that this case was actually a bit of an inspiration for Danganronpa V3's lying mechanic, because we're actually going to have to lie. A phony trial, a phony lawyer, and phony clues. Everything about this case has been phony. Seems like the perfect excuse for some phony evidence. Mr. Tigre, this is the the decisive piece of evidence that will prove your guilt. Why? Because it contains... Oh, I so want to say this. I know, basically, we're supposed to say potassium cyanide. I'm going to say it. Oils. The evidence on its own isn't worth anything. I guess I'll just have to take the plunge and...
Well, wait a minute, Nick! I wrote down what I thought everyone knows it!
Mr. Wright, if you think I'll allow you to indulge in this speculation at this, you're wrong.
Oops, looks like I better reconsider. I've got to take advantage of the fact that the Tiger thinks he's won, and lead him into a trap. And a phony piece of evidence is the way to do it. Mr. Tigre? Thought we could do that. Anyways, potassium cyanide. This is the bottle containing the potassium cyanide.
Potassium cyanide?
The poison used to murder Mr. Elgroner. The victim's killer used this very bottle. And on this bottle, Mr. Tigre, we found your fingerprints. Well, how do you explain that? You'd make a good clown, you'd know that. I better climb the moat at the very least. What? You ain't never gonna get this to stick. You just making me laugh now. You think a cheap bluff like that's gonna fool the Tiger? A bluff? I can see straight through you, Phoenix Wright. That ain't the bottle with the cyanide in it. No. This is the bottle we found traces of the poison in. Don't mess with the Tiger, or you's gonna get ripped to shreds. The cyanide bottle was brown, and it was made of glass. That cheap piece of trash don't look nothing like that. Silence. Got him. At last. What? Why is everyone going quiet? I said the bottle. Is the bottle you're referring to? Is this the bottle you're referring to? Yeah, that's it. That's the bottle with the cyanide. The cyanide was in. But yous ain't gonna find my prints on that bottle. Don't let that cozy looking suit fool you people. That lawyer's just playing games. Tell him, Godo. Tell that guy where to go. You still haven't figured it out. Don't you realize what you just said? What I said? What did I just say? You were summoned to this court for the first time earlier today. If you really had nothing to do with the murder, you shouldn't have known about all the little details. For instance, you shouldn't have known what kind of bottle the potassium cyanide was in. But just now you slipped up in front of every single person in this courtroom. You described the exact bottle used by the killer to hold the poison. You don't know who you's messing with. I'm the Tiger. I control millions of dollars on the black market. You think I'm gonna let some jumped up suit get the better of me? Sure, the last piece of evidence was phony. But that's just what you deserve. A phony trial with a phony lawyer. It was all played out by you. The biggest phony of them all. You're a phony! A big phony! Who's a guilty like a phony? Oh!
What's going on? It looks like a blackout.
Well done, Wright. I saved my 17th cup of coffee just for you. Savor it while you watch your cage prey.
Right, you caught a tiger by his toe, but if this one hollers, he won't be let go. The prosecution will be sure to take care of Mr. Tigre, won't you, Mr. Godo?
He is being arrested on suspicion of the murder of Grenell, Your Honor.
Fortunately for us, we managed to rectify a very grave error. Spurd was found guilty in the absence of a genuine defense attorney.
Yes, she was. And in the absence of genuine evidence. But the Tiger made one mistake.
Indeed. He very nearly got away with everything if it wasn't for that one slip of the tongue. Your Tigre is a truly frightening criminal.
Ha! The truly frightening one is that defense attorney over there. Godo.
Well, I am now in position to deliver my verdict. This court finds the defendant, Maggie Bird, not guilty. That is all. This court is adjourned.
Mr. Wright, I'm at a loss for words. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Maggie. I was so mad when Mr. Wright landed me in all that trouble a month ago, but now I feel like I can forgive him.
Hey, that wasn't me, Maggie. That was the Tigre.
Look, Nick, it's the door in the doorway.
Detective Gumshoe.
Oh, I guess I'll be hanging out then. See you later.
Wait!
Detective Gumshoe.
Oh yeah. Congratulations, Maggie.
Thanks.
I knew you was all along.
Why didn't you say that in your testimony then?
Huh? Oh, well, I was, well, I guess I'll be hanging out then. See you around.
Wait up, detective. He just ran off.
Maggie, why are you being so hard on him? He buzzed his butt for you. It's that damn that we got the medication bottle. That wasn't even any use. But it's only because Mr. Wright used it so cleverly. Detective Gumshoe was just running around in circles.
Poor guy. Looks like she still isn't ready to forgive him.
Can't you put in a good word for him, Nick?
Yeah, Maya's right. I should help Gumshoe out. It's clear he needs it. Maggie, you know, Detective Gumshoe's been really worried about you all throughout this.
I wanted to believe that, sir. On that first day of the trial, he practically gave me the judge a free pass to lock me up.
He didn't have any choice, Maggie. He's a detective. He has to report the facts. His pay can't take another cut.
He doubted me, that's why. He thought I might have done it.
I gotta prove to her that Gumshoe really cares about her. I know. I'll give her a little present to celebrate her freedom. Here you are, a present to celebrate your freedom.
That's...
A present from Detective Gumshoe, made with a ton of love.
He said you lost weight and was worried about you. Detective Gumshoe. I actually really like weenies. You know. Did you hear that? I'm really hungry myself, you know.
Yeah, the trial dragged on a bit today, didn't it?
It's okay if I eat this now?
And then Maya, she just pushes Maggie out of the... Pushes Maggie and just mugs her for the weenies.
So how is it, Maggie? It's really good.
So the case of Phony versus Genuine comes to an end. The false allegations surrounding Maggie have all been cleared up. And who knows, maybe a whole new chapter of her life is about to start. Recipe for Turnabout, Chapter End. I still can't believe I got 2 guilty orders because I couldn't decipher the freaking mirror testimony. Turnabout Beginnings. No, I'm not saving the game. Anyways, there's the picture, Maya in the waitress outfit. Anyways, I think now's a good time to end this off. I really appreciate that you took around to watch this episode. If you come back for the next one. If you like the video, like, subscribe, comment, share, do whatever that you want. And with that, I'll see you later. Bye.